Hi, everybody. Just trying to set up the live stream here. Just thought I'd do a quick one, maybe chat about it for a little bit here. But California's getting hit especially hard by this storm, so I thought I'd jump on here and take a look. Both Los Angeles and the Bay Area, Southern California, strong thunderstorms moving on shore. This box out here across Southern California has water spout potential in it, big gusty winds, strong thunderstorm activity. Dangerous lightning, but yeah, it's not often you see a water spout marine advisory off the coastline of Southern California, but here we are. Hailing in Sacramento. Yeah, I saw that was starting to get crazy in Sacramento there as well. Looks like the thunderstorm is going on right now. Looks like it's gusting over 40 miles an hour, over 45 miles an hour even. But the big story is really the Oakland gust, 64 knots, 74 miles per hour. I mean, just an amazing storm here, really. The last mid-latitude cyclone that went through there was pretty strong as well. San Francisco gusting up to what? Close to 65 miles per hour here on the last observation. I think that just came in now, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, that was 23Z, which would be 4 o'clock. So that was last hour. There should be another observation coming in here any moment. There it is. So it's calmed down, but it's still gusting over 50 miles per hour in San Francisco. And again, Oakland getting hit with 74 mile per hour gusts. I've never seen gusts like that in Oakland in any kind of record data. I don't know if it's the strongest wind ever recorded there or what, but pretty intense storms. You can see here, you guys have probably been seeing on social media, this thing spinning off the coastline there and really bringing some heavy bands of precipitation, some thunderstorm activity, and you're getting flash flood warnings, urban stream, small stream advisories out there as well. And you can see this line of storms moving into Central and Southern California now as well. And this might go on for a few hours here. So there's probably some flooding going on down across some of the Los Angeles metro area as well. As you can see, just some very strong thunderstorms moving into the area, a lot of lightning. And again, there's water spout potential out here as well. Yeah, it would have been the time now. I see Ryan's here. It would have been the time to be in Los Angeles right now if you like storms. Pretty wild day down there and pretty intense day across the Bay Area. And what an impressive presentation here on the Doppler. And you can imagine some of these areas out here, you know, just south of Redwood City on the higher hills here. Boulder Creek. I mean, this got to be flooding going on in here. It's just been hanging out for a while as this was bent back occlusion is just kind of training over the area, and it had a really heavy round of rain. It's been going on for a while now across some of the San Jose area. So this is just pretty intense. And if we look a little closer, I think this is it, the Bay Area. There's flood advisories going on for a lot of the San Jose, San Francisco area as well for that urban and small stream flooding by the excessive rainfall. Yeah, there's all kinds of flood advisories, severe thunderstorm warnings. Yeah, this is a pretty wild system here rolling in. You saw that double-barreled low there come on shore, bringing heavy precipitation and just continuing as this bent back occlusion. So there's a warm front, cold front, stationary front, and there's occluded fronts. An occluded front is where you wrap the cold front and the warm front back around the system like that. So this is the occluded front all the way back here, and that brings strong winds with it as well. Pretty crazy day out there. I mean, I don't know if this is convective enough that you'd have to worry about water spouts with this. I guess it's possible, but really there's some marine advisories down across the Southern California. They might have just taken it off there, but there was one down here across Southern California that had a water spout warning there. 984 millibar in San Francisco. That is impressive. Windy in Sacramento now. LA getting hammered. Let's see. Yeah, it does look like a hurricane. It's just a very strong mid-latitude cyclone. And the thing is it's taking its sweet time, and it's just kind of hung up there right on the Bay Area. So it's just going to, Like I mentioned this morning, it was bound to have some surprises with rainfall amounts because of its situation where it was just going to hang out here and spin and fill over the area there. Just catching up on the chat here. It looks like Ron Dog is in here. Only 14 car accidents between San Jose and San Francisco afternoon commute. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I forgot what river. I'm not recalling it now, but one of the rivers that hasn't been running for many years is starting to run across a portion of California as well. I forgot which one that was. I can't recall. We've got some geoengineers in here. Well, the atmospheric river to the south, that's a good point there that Dick brings up about the atmospheric river to the south is what was moving through quickly. So this atmospheric river down here, it's now moving across Baja. That was the one that could have really brought some big flooding if you would have hung that up across Southern California there. This low pressure system has been forecasted just kind of hang out there for days. And I kind of mentioned that this morning that there's bound to be some surprises there with the rainfall amounts due to that low pressure system not moving fast. And it's going to continue to wrap moisture around, and it's not done yet. And then after this atmospheric river, of course, we're bringing this colder air here, and that's what's bringing the thunderstorm activity across some of the Los Angeles metro as we speak. And that's going to continue on probably in through this evening as well. I mean, California is just a weather lover's paradise here this year. I mean, a pretty impressive winter and early spring here across the area. Yeah, I've been hearing that about Tulare Lake out there. Might make a reappearance here. Studying to be a meteorologist. Yeah, this is the kind of season that can spawn some future meteorologists across the state. That's for sure. The Tulare River, is that the one it is that I was thinking of? Watched a tree snap from my balcony in downtown San Francisco. Happened about an hour ago. Sacramento. Yeah, getting a lot of reports of hail there across Sacramento. So let's see here. And you see these thunderstorms here, kind of like the outer bands on that system, actually quite strong here as well. Let me back this up a little bit. We'll do 30 frames, put that into motion. That's probably the hail maker right there, the one that just went through. So there it was. This is the one that everybody... excuse me, everybody was probably talking about right there. These storms that move through Sacramento, still off to the east there a little bit now. What a potent storm. Just an amazing season here. Yeah, the atmospheric river got out of there pretty quick, which is good because there's more precipitation coming for Los Angeles and down here across Santa Barbara, Ventura County. Let me check out the Ventura radar here. And you can see right now, kind of the Los Angeles metro is going to be bullseyed here for the next couple hours probably, but there's still some more precipitation on its way, it looks like. And there's thunderstorm potential here across some of that area here, Highway 1 or 101, whatever you want to call it here, as you get out of Los Angeles, start to move up the coastline. Yeah, Seattle, I'm sure is nowhere near, we're nowhere near 16.6 inches. LA definitely got us beat. Yeah, there's potential for more systems coming in through the future here later on into March as well. But I mean, it's got lightning. It's got some torrential rain in some of these lines here that segments are just kind of moving through. What a wild storm. Trying to bring rain to everybody here. Yeah, you can see a lot of those lightning strikes there with those storms that moved across some of the valley area there. So Sacramento, that was the hailer right there that went over Sacramento. So you guys were probably getting a lot of lightning there too. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody saw a funnel cloud with one of these storms here in this line as it moves north. Yeah, San Francisco again gusting up towards 65 miles per hour. It doesn't quite reach what the last storm was doing, but Oakland bested last storm. They got 74. You're starting to get hurricane force at that point. Yeah, and by the way, any Pacific Northwest weather lovers here, it is a gorgeous day up here. We're just like basking in the sunshine in the mid and upper 50s. Some areas up towards 60, so it's kind of pleasant up here, but it is a different story down here across California. Special weather statement here. Strong line of thunderstorms impact portions of the southeast Ventura and western Los Angeles County through 5:30 p.m. Yeah, and look at that. Thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado, land spout. So, yeah, heads up if you guys are out and about down there across Southern Cal. Land spouts, wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, pea-size hail. And, of course, the power outages. So the land spout potential would probably be with this segment, with these here. Is some of this rotating out in front of this here too? I haven't had much time to look at this, but this is here. Let's do this. Yeah, it might be back in this line, actually back here. Looks like there's a little bit of rotation there along that line. Should be fairly weak. It's not like it's going to be, it's not going to be destructive tornadoes, but it could do some damage. A land spout is just it's just a non-supercellular tornado. A tornado in this kind of instance is going to be much weaker than, the stronger ones you get across some of the Great Plains and out in the southeast. Thugoey, thank you for the generosity. Let's go back to this one here. What I'm looking at here is the Radar Omega and Radar Scope. They're both pay apps. They can be kind of pricey, but let's back this up a little bit here so we can kind of see that double-barreled low spinning around out there across the bay area. 75 frames. Let's see what this one looks like. Actually, let's bounce to San Francisco. I don't know if that's called San Francisco, but anyway, yeah, look at these mesoscale lows in here, the double-barreled lows. A lot of heavy rain, man. And then this is just kind of training over the area. San Jose, San Mateo, Fremont. You guys are just getting blasted in there. And they've got this special weather statement up now. It looks like gust of 55, tree limbs down, power outages. Same thing with that band of showers going up across. What is this one? So we got a special marine warning down here off the Los Angeles coastline. Isolated thunderstorms capable of producing water spouts. We're located along a line extending from Port of Los Angeles to Santa Catalina Island, 14 nautical miles east of San Clemente Island and Dana Point, northeast at 30 knots. So they're moving pretty fast. So the hazard is water spouts and wind gusts to 50 knots, small hail. You would not want to be a mariner out there across the water right now when one of these lines of storms moved over you. Yeah, so this is the area here they are targeting right now for that water spout potential. And these could also move on shore as brief tornadoes as well. Santa Cruz, it's been wild all day. Northridge, California here. That's a story. I left Northridge about 2 weeks before the huge one hit in 94. I was down there visiting my girlfriend at UCLA at the time. And yeah, I left like 2 weeks before the huge earthquake happened. Oceanside, California here. The ocean is wild. Yeah, that's the problem with getting so much rain in such a short period of time. It makes it really difficult. The reservoirs, they get clogged with debris. There's all kinds of issues. They have to be really careful about how much water builds behind the dams and whatnot, because, a dam collapse is like worst case scenario. Then you're talking about deaths downstream. So it has to be really, and it seems like, we're just wasting water by dumping it back out. But you have to be really careful because you do not need failures. And a lot of times debris can plug spillways and whatnot, and you can really, cause some serious permanent damage to some of these reservoirs and their dams. So I'm glad that's not my job, because that's high impact. But yeah, kind of a beautiful Doppler radar imagery here. As you can see, the double-barreled lows move across Santa Cruz, up across San Jose, the Bay Area, and then it just kind of fills in and just continues to train rainfall across the area. And this band, slow moving in this bent back occlusion. I mean, look at some of this area here. Where is this? Big Basin, Redwood State Park, Big Basin, Riverside Grove. This area is just got to be, look how long this heavy precipitation hangs on this area. San Lorenzo Park. Right in here has got to just be an absolute washout. China grade. I don't think I've ever been in this area here. Big Basin, Redwoods State Park. This area has just got to be really being hit hard right now with that bent back occlusion training over the area. Big Basin, Bolt, Sniper. So Big Basin, it's got to be just kind of crazy out there. It depends on where you are, I guess. It looks like actually the area just north and west of Big Basin here. So it doesn't look like there's a lot of people there, but let's watch this again. So you can see the heavy rain move over. It doesn't really stop. And it continues here with this bent back occlusion, just training over the area here. Man, there's going to be some crazy precipitation amounts in this region. Big Bear City, SoCal, getting dumped on now all day long. Yeah, some of this stuff is convectively driven. So, when you get this precipitation, you're probably getting gustier winds. Mild wind, rain in Oakland. Davis, California, thunder and intermittent hail this afternoon. 1 inch of rain. I would be surprised if you see a winter like this across California for a long time. This has just been winter/spring, we should say. We're into spring now, and technically, weather-wise, meteorological speaking, it starts March 1st. So whatever you want to call it, winter, spring season. But this is one for the record books. You're going to be talking about this for decades, almost certainly. And it's not over yet, obviously. But yeah, there's some pretty strong. This one that came on shore right there, that could be that might have had a water spout with it. You can kind of see the rotation in that storm as it kind of moving on shore there. And of course, so many people live in this area. If something happens, you'll probably hear about it. But yeah, pretty intense system here, and now it's dragging these thunderstorms across Southern California. I'll close that one down and look at that one again here. 61 mile per hour gust. Yeah, 61 mile per hour gust. Some people don't think that's a big deal. It's a huge deal, especially when you have trees. I mean, I've been in my location here next to SeaTac, Puget Sound, Washington. In the 11 years I've been here, the highest gust I've got is 60 miles per hour. And it did pretty significant tree damage. And yeah, it's no joke. I mean, it'll find weaknesses in homes and it'll damage roofs and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, this is basically kind of La Nina dropping the troughs down repeatedly across California. It's basically La Nina that usually impacts the Pacific Northwest has just been including California with it repetitively. None of these atmospheric rivers have been, I mean, the last one I guess was pretty good and it had the freezing levels pretty high, but you can get warmer atmospheric rivers here across California for sure. San Diego, California stopped raining 3 hours ago. We had power outages, down trees, flooded roads, and now sinkholes everywhere. Yeah, I believe it. It gets wild. I remember it raining. I remember a good atmospheric river coming through in 96 when I was in Los Angeles, and it causes issues. First grandchild due any day now in the Sierra Nevada range. Hopefully they have access in and out. They probably do. I'm sure they're getting prepared. Pacific Northwest Weather Lover is here. Hello. Yeah, I don't have any experience with spraying sulfuric acid into the atmosphere or geoengineering or anything of that nature. I've studied it a little bit, but cloud seeding is very difficult to do, and it's very hard to do on a large scale. And we are nowhere near the technology to be controlling weather on a large scale. You can cloud seed some areas and it can create some precipitation, and it might cause some issues downstream with not allowing as much precipitation to go in that area. But we're nowhere near the technology. This much energy that's being released by this storm is, it's incredible amounts. We just simply do not have the access to that much energy. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get more rounds. That's a good question. Cindy asks about, do we think we'll get the highest snow level ever in the Sierras? We do have a chance because you can still build up that snowpack and those snowfall amounts as we go through April. And we have a few more systems coming, including a colder one after this one moves through, and then potentially more after that through the end of March into early April. So we have a chance. Yeah, geoengineering things, weather is a thing on small scales, not near the scale it would take to have any kind of effect on a system like this. Has basically negligible effect. How do you predict how hot the sun? Yeah, I haven't looked really. I did see that there was some predictions here in the extended that the summer was going to be warmer than normal across a lot of the West Coast. But I'll probably dive into that once things calm down a little bit. I'll look at some of the extended forecasts and we'll talk about it. Yeah, we might get some action up here in the Pacific Northwest. We got some colder air moving into the region up here as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I might go out there and chase a thunderstorm around Western Washington or whatnot. But you can see up here, look at this storm system is down here just tearing California apart, just really blasting you guys. And look at, I'm up here in Seattle, and it's just a glorious day out there right now. Fairly warm, lots of sunshine. No, it takes something extremely rare to get a hurricane anywhere near the west coast here. We just don't have it because the current of the water comes from kind of out of the north here, and the water just doesn't get warm enough here off the coast. I mean, you can get a tropical storm close to some areas of Southern California, but it has to take the perfect track basically as it passes by through Mexico here. It's just very difficult. Not something generally you have to worry about. Sometimes you can get a tropical system that curves back north out here across Pacific, and it can get a little bit close to the west coast of North America, but it's turning up extra tropical by the time it does so usually. What does happen with tropical systems is a lot of time they'll form out across the western Pacific here, and you get that energy that will enter the jet stream, and in a powerful jet stream it can really drop some huge storms right on the doorstep of the west coast here. And that's really the origination of a lot of windstorms here across Pacific Northwest. You know, typhoons across the western Pacific that bring their energy across in a powerful jet stream. And then you get a trough out here over the Gulf of Alaska with some cold air, and it can really wrap up and bring some very strong storms. And those storms can affect California even as well. Yeah, tropical systems that try to get towards California from the south really have a hard time. That area of the redwoods is gorgeous. Oh, you're talking about yeah, if anybody happens to be or know, it doesn't look like there's much out here. Look at San Lorenzo Park. Looks like off to the west of that and kind of just off to the northwest of Big Basin here. Big Basin Redwood State Park area here. Just experiencing a long period of pretty heavy precipitation. And it just continues. I mean, as you can see here, we're just still dealing with this. And for those of you just joining me, you see that double-barreled low here, and this low pressure system, like we talked about this morning, slow moving, just kind of parked over the Bay Area here. It is weakening now, but it's still got a lot of energy with it, bringing a lot of precipitation with it as well as it fills. And this is what we call the bent back occlusion. So this is a occluded front, and the warm front basically wrap around the system here, and that's what's known as the occluded front. Some people call it a sting jet here as it wraps back around, brings some strong winds with it as well. Jordan Trumpner, thank you for the generosity. Yes, enjoying the sun up here. Yes, I was too. I actually washed my car out in the sun today. Are the reservoirs preventing a huge flood? No, they don't really help on that large of a scale here. You know, on the whole scale of the Sierra Nevada, for example, you've got so much area here, and the reservoir is only catching a certain amount of it, and it can only capture a certain amount anyway before they'd have to release it also. So it doesn't really stop a major flood. Quinn Fitzpatrick, usually on Whidbey Island. He's in the storm in East Bay. The storm has been exceptionally strong, power knocked out, and I feel like I'm on a hurricane with the wind gusts. Big Basin is really unpopulated area. Lots of big trees, though, and steep terrain. Okay, so that's good that it's hitting there because it's really hammering. But, I mean, some of the coastal areas on 101, I'd be surprised if there weren't some kind of mudslide activity going on out here. So you can see all of the heavy rain just continuing and continuing. There's probably some concerns here with Highway 17 as well. Out of power. Ryan Duggar, yeah, Nilo 38, yeah, for everybody wanting to know, Nilo 38 has emailed me. He lives in California. I'm not going to disclose his address or anything, but he lives in California, and the weather station has been shipped. He probably has, if he doesn't have it by now, he's going to have it within the next couple days. So yeah, Nilo 38, he gave me his address. The weather station is on its way to him. '61 in Portland. Very nice. Big Basin is not unpopulated. Okay, so there are people. I mean, it looks to the area here just kind of north and west, but a lot of this area, as you can see, is just getting blasted with heavy precip. There was a chance. It looked like there was a chance for tomorrow evening for a thunderstorm across some of. Let's look at it. I haven't looked at the data here in a few hours. It's the most recent NAM. See if it's still doing that where it brings the showers in the afternoon and evening. It brings a few showers there, but not too much. I don't know. Maybe a convergence zone trying to set up there a little bit overnight too. Stronger front as we go through the day Thursday here for the Pacific Northwest though. Maybe Thursday afternoon for the coastline as well. Yeah, if you guys in California are looking for some nice weather, check out Seattle up here in Portland. 61 in Portland, probably upper 50s here in Seattle. Glorious sunshine, nice blue skies. Yeah, it's kind of rubbing it in there a little bit, but you guys will get your sunshine here in a couple months, maybe. So the rest of this thing, this is it right here. So you can see the cold air wrapping around the system and now coming back onshore here. And that's what's bringing some strong thunderstorms across the LA metro down there. There's some water spout potential with that as well. There's special marine advisories for water spouts and land spouts. So weak tornado possible across some of Southern California as well. But you can see this system just kind of spinning over the Bay Area. In fact, let's do this. Let's back out a little bit there. So you can see the development of the storm there. And there it goes, it's spinning mode. And like the model said, it was just going to kind of hang out right on the Bay Area. It's not really going anywhere either. So there's going to be a period of, periods of heavy rain there for a while across some of the Bay Area. And as you guys know, there's some thunderstorms up by Sacramento and some of those bands that are wrapping up around the system. Sacramento got a thunderstorm there and some hail. Yeah, El Nino's coming next year. We'll see what that does. El Nino can bring problems for California too, but it's good for drought removal also a lot of the times. If we look here, let's see what's going on. They still have special marine advisory is up here for Southern California coastal areas and out over the water. If you're just joining me here, there's water spout potential gust to 50 knots, small hail in this area. In fact, let's go back to. That was a pretty strong storm that moved on the shoreline here, right near Huntington Beach. That packed a punch there. So there's probably small hail with that as well. And maybe even a water spout with that storm. And here we go again. So we've got another special marine warning here. You guys probably can't read that, but it's saying capable of water spouts, 50 knots plus small hail. Yeah, what a storm. I mean, affecting everything from Los Angeles, San Diego Metro, all the way up to the Bay Area, Sacramento. Quite impressive. Yeah, that 15-16 El Nino, it actually, it's set up like it was supposed to, but it actually pointed more at the Pacific Northwest. But strong El Ninos do have a tendency to bring increased precipitation somewhere along the West Coast, which usually favor California, but not always, as we found out. Yeah, you got to pick your poison sometimes. Do you want the fire or do you want the water? A lot of times there's no in between when it comes to California. When you're choking in smoke though during the summertime, it's hard not to wish for the rain. Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon have been kind of dry actually this winter so far. I see a question there asking how wet it's been, but the Cascades of Washington and Oregon have been below average. A little concerned about that for the fire season coming up because we're quickly getting out of our wet season across Pacific Northwest. So hopefully we can still build up some of that snow as we go through April. Do they think next year will be a strong or moderate El Nino? The question asked by Cindy. Well, that is still up for debate at this point. Right now, there's some signs pointing at a moderate El Nino, but a lot of times we don't have a clear signal at that yet. So this is not out of the possibility that we could be looking at a strong El Nino coming up. Yeah, that's another thing too. You can really enhance the vegetation that grows across the state, and then you end up bringing more fuel to the fire potentially. So sometimes you just can't win. There's always some kind of threat going on. Life is just kind of that way, I guess. Life by its nature is dangerous. Yeah, Southern California. If you guys are just joining here, these boxes here off the coastline, Ventura County up here towards Santa Barbara off the coast. There's water spout potential with this box. There's water spout potential with this one here. And yeah, it could even come onto the shoreline as a brief, weak tornado as well. But there's some dangerous lightning in these storms as well, bringing very heavy precipitation across Southern California. So yes, Southern California is not escaping. Let's do this. This is kind of a culmination of the Dopplers here, and it doesn't really show things too well, but you can kind of see what's going on as a whole more. You can see that low over the Bay Area here. Stronger storms down here across Southern California. And some of the thunderstorms that moved across Sacramento a little bit ago, moving up around this low pressure system there. Let's back out a little bit here. We'll go to 50 frames. Yeah, it tends to be the normal for California a lot of times. Two extremes. You go through drought. I mean, drought is a normal process of, any kind of climate, especially for places like California. You're going to go through periods of drought. Then you go through periods of huge deluges like this. So it's just kind of how things work across a lot of California. As you can see, there's a lot of shower activity continuing to move on into Southern California as we go. And if you look at this infrared satellite imagery here, you can see all the cold air still wrapping back into Southern California as we speak. Let's go ahead and look at that. So what we're looking at here is this is 5:20 Pacific Standard Time there. So you can still see this cold air is still funneling into the area. And this low pressure system, as the models said, it's been doing, the models did really well with this low, especially the European. The European showed these big winds over the Bay Area. And remember what the NAM and the HER said? You can go back in my videos and watch, and you can see that they were not showing anything for the Bay Area. They were showing strong winds into the Central California coast. And the European, again, just flexing its muscle here. I mean, it really picked up those winds coming across the Bay Area. And if you're just joining now, and really update this, Oakland had a 74 mile per hour gust. If you look here, this is peak wind here, 64 knots. Then they had another gust to 63 knots, which is about 72, 73 miles per hour there. San Francisco had 56 knots, which is about 64 miles per hour, 65 miles per hour, something like that. off the top of my head. So yeah, the European really just flexing its muscle here, did really well again this round with that feature that low pressure system was going to bring strong winds to the Bay Area. Yeah, drought is a part of life. It is true. Is climate change accelerating or slowing the El Nino cycles? As far as we know, it does not have any effect on the cycles themselves. I can't say that with 80% certainty, but it does. When we go into El Nino cycles, the planet does get warmer. I mean, the El Ninos tend to be a little bit enhanced, it looks like right now. I don't know that much about it, but it doesn't look to be affecting, because we just went through this period of 3 straight La Ninas, for example. So it doesn't look like it's favoring either El Nino or La Nina itself. But of course, the La Ninas are going to be a little warmer, and so will the El Ninos. But that's just kind of how climate change is. The PGE outage map reminds me of the windstorm in Western Washington last November. Sharing to my 700 friends. Yeah, get the word out, you guys. It's nice to get the word out to everybody. Hopefully people are more prepared. There's a lot of good people on social media that can pass along a lot of good information here, and just kind of having this attitude of being prepared, be prepared, not scared. It kind of helps things out. There have been similar La Ninas, and they tend to happen like every 25 years. So I might be pretty old by the next 3-peat La Nina by the time it rolls around. But it's happened before. It happened in the 70s, and it happened in the 50s as well. Wind here in Oakland is insane. Yeah, you guys, 74 miles an hour. I mean, that's just that's intense. That wind will do some serious damage. Yeah, Sacramento actually getting a little more wind there as well. And some of these thunderstorms, again, with that low pressure system kind of impacting the area up there pretty well. Yeah, when you warm the planet, you do increase water vapor. That is true. I can't speak to the breakdown of the polar vortex, the most recent one. I did not pay that much attention to it. We've been so busy across Pacific Northwest and California that I usually pay a little bit more attention around the rest of the world, and I will go over things like that a little bit more. And I'll try to do that in the future as well. I'm trying to make this more of something that I can do closer to full time so I can put more into it. But right now I still have a day job, and I have to, I've got kids and stuff like that. But I'm trying to work this channel into something that I can do more often. Do we know what would cause a 3-peat La Nina? We don't know the exact dynamics of why La Nina and El Nino go back and forth. Like every 2 to 7 years, you kind of get that switch between them. But we know it's just obviously a natural cycle, but we don't know exactly why it's occurring. Yeah, we are still in the initial stages. Like, it's only been one generation since we even knew things like the Madden-Julian oscillation, and, we're just now in the infancy of understanding these tropical oscillations that affect weather up into the mid-latitudes. So we're still in the initial stages of it, I should say. I'm going to do a video on the Madden-Julian oscillation as well. And I don't want to talk about that too much before I put the video out. But yeah, we're going towards El Nino, and it's probably going to, it's hard to say, but I think that we're probably headed towards a moderate El Nino coming up here. We'll see how it goes. Over the next few months, we'll kind of watch it. And again, like I said, sometimes when these El Ninos go strong, we really don't see them until a couple of months in advance. Yeah, Chris Farley, elnino.gif. You've got a couple more storms potentially coming for California through early April. But tune in here every day, and we'll talk about it, and we'll go over it, and you'll have plenty of time. You'll have plenty of heads up here. Yeah, we get a lot of rain up here in the Pacific Northwest, but it's usually a little bit more drawn out. Yeah, we can see that El Nino is coming months in advance. And I'll look into it a little bit more here because I've not put that much attention into why it occurs. I've heard some people talk about it, and I know we don't fully understand the cycle between La Nina and El Nino. Andrew Dodd, welcome to Basic Channel Support. Yes, and El Nino, especially like in a strong El Nino, tends to impact California later on through the winters. As you go on in through the new year, especially, it impacts the state even more. The impacts are more strongly felt. What's causing the super high wind speeds? Well, this low pressure system off the Bay Area is what's causing that strong wind. So if we bounce to here and we go back about 50 frames, so you can imagine this low pressure center here. It's like a vacuum. The pressure is so low and the atmosphere is trying to rush in to this low pressure center here. And it spins around the low, and that's why those strong winds accompanied this low pressure center today. This low drops, you get a pressure gradient, and that's what creates the strong winds. The pressure gradient is created by temperature difference. You had this cold air kind of moving down into the area, it met up with some subtropical air to the south, and it really caused a great pressure gradient, a big temperature difference in the atmosphere. And that's what brings those strong winds across the Bay Area today. You guys are just joining me. Oakland gusting 74 miles per hour. San Francisco up around 65 miles per hour with another intense storm today. Yeah, El Nino got its name originally off the coast of South America there. They noticed every few years the water stayed pretty warm and the fishing became bad, and they named it El Nino because it seemed to be strongest and warmest at about Christmas time. So they named it El Nino. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this live stream up. I'll do another briefing tomorrow. We'll kind of look and see what's going on with this storm tomorrow morning. We'll take a look at the future as well. I got to get up and I'll feed the kids and whatnot. But anyway, hope you guys liked the radar presentation here, and thanks for stopping in and sharing with me all your guys' reports. Those help a lot. Hopefully places aren't flooding too bad here where this heavy rain just continues to train over the area. And hopefully everybody's being careful down here across Los Angeles, Southern California. As those showers move in, you can get that urban flooding there across the Southern California area, and there's some water spout potential out there. But we'll check back again tomorrow morning. And yeah, I'll do that again, and we'll look out into the future, and we'll check to see what kind of storms are coming for the future. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.